pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call the Water City Council regular meeting Tuesday, November 1st to order. Roll call, please.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Diamond.
Here.
Wick.
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Yes.
Bruns.
Present.
Motion to approve the agenda? Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. General discussion. Do we have any citizens here for general discussion? One. Mr. Wayne Chipper.
Wayne Shipper, Chairman of the Plymouth County Veterans Memorial Park. I mentioned last time I was here, I didn't want to get confused with the cemetery, so I waited till this moment to bring you up to date on the Memorial Park, not the cemetery. Although I do have some things on the cemetery if you need it. Before I do that, share, I'd appreciate it, because I didn't want to kill the trees. Before I get started into this, first of all, I drafted a letter from our Plymouth County Veterans Memorial Park Board to the mayor, city council, administration. On behalf of our entire board, we thank you for your support and help with some of the maintenance and repairs when needed at the Veterans Memorial Park. We appreciate the help we received from City Administrator Jason Garcero, the city staff, Brad Efling, Scott Knight, Rich Sattel, Dave Shipper, and their personnel, Campbell Electric, Kelvin Quaker, and all others who work with us to maintain and support this educational and historical Veterans Memorial. Thanks again, and working together is always important, needed, and enjoyable. With that said, I'll bring you up to date a little bit what's happening up there at the park. We have our annual meeting prior to July 1st, and we put some wheels into motion at that time. First of all, I'll just run through this real quick. This year, the Reach Across America, we've been accepted again, so we'll be doing that on the 17th of December at 11 o'clock in the morning up at the Veterans Park. The Reach Across America, the park that we participate in is putting wreaths by the shelter for the home of Jim Rolfes did. That's where we put those wreaths down there so people can come by and see what that we recognize all the branches of the service, the POWs, etc. So that's that'll be we'll do that again this year. We do not go out to the grave sites in any of our cemeteries like they do up north. But we have been accepted to do it in our park, and we do furnish them the information on Lamar's as a participant. And if you go on the website, you'll see that we are a participant and recognized here in Lamar's Island. Another thing is the flags up there. If you go up to the park, I haven't been there for a while, there's a star that sits in the middle of the park that has 5 branches of services. Well, now we have 6. And everybody knows it costs us about $360,000 to get that park kicked off and running the way it is now. There's pavers up there that are put together in there, and it costs quite a bit of money to change those out. So I asked the board if they would consider a couple of changes maybe that would fit, but yet without stripping that park down that was put in before I got on this board in 2005. So we'll come together on that. And the Space Force will be flying this next year, next to the Air Force flag, and we'll remove the Coast Guard, and we'll move it down by the street where the National Guard's at, and the flag that's for the Merchant Marine, and also POW-MIA flag. We'll put that Coast Guard down there, move the POW up underneath the American flag, which fits the national, how you fly flags, and that'd be next to, of course, the state flag and the county flag. So we don't have to really disrupt the park to the way it's set, and it should look all right, and we'll still be able to facilitate having that 6th branch of the service up there at the park. Maintenance and flowers, Cal Quaker donates that, takes care of that for us, so that's been working out real well. One of the things we recommended was, we had a problem with the borderline trees up there. We've ever been up there, that we had 235 feet of trees that run along the side where the Youth for Christ building's at. Winter Kill got part of it last year, so we watched it as it went through the year, and so I recommended that we remove those out of there and put some evergreens in there that can grow over the years, so as time goes, that keeps developing in there. So what we did is, if you look, and my print's not real good here, but you can see there's like 4 trees that were put in there. What we did is had Rulons come in and rip out the other ones and resurface this, so we got things leveled again, and then had them plant the trees, and then we spent a couple of weeks there watering, making sure these trees would take. Jason did, I talked to Jason about this, and he did offer to use maybe some city help on this, but at this time I said, well, we have funding that we've been collecting for this, I might have to use you guys for something else down the road. So since we already have some funding, we already have the capabilities to do this, that's what we did. So those trees are in place now, and funding was collected. We got that through some donations, and Rulons treated us rather nice with that as they put those trees in for us. So if you look at, you can see it on your little deal. And I have another print that I made behind where that borders went back there. So those 200-some foot of trees are gone back there. We did keep down towards the south end there. We did keep about 7 or 8 of them up there because they're in good shape yet to have some sort of a border. The other was a monument. I superimposed it on my print, if you can see where it kind of sits there by the gazebo that's down where, when you come off of the west side of the park, where we have the other 11 monuments in there. This one here will stand alone down there, where we had a bench. We moved down by the gazebo too, so when people take tours, some of the older folks has given tours to kind of watch that a little bit, and so there's a place where some can sit and rest, and the board thought that's was noble that we did that. So collectively, we agreed on that and putting up this monument, which we were going to do this fall, but we've changed the dedication to 2023, near Memorial Day. So we thought that would tie together. So talking with Rex Mickle, who's been working with us on this project, if we could make this happen. And on your print, I'm not certain if I showed what will go on that particular monument, but it says here, rest in our glory, an American soldier known but to God. As everybody knows out, we don't have anybody in the tomb right now, but we still have people missing. So at the bottom, I put in there dedicated to deceased United States service members whose remains have not been found or identified. So we will have that now to finish up that part of the park. And we thought that would probably be a good addition to that particular part of the park too, and it flows with the park, so when they do the tours, we work closely making sure that we keep things up there clean and neat between Westmar and the Veterans Park too, because it's very important that we make these things look rather nice together at all times. And so that's been something that we were able to accomplish. The other thing is we have a new board member. I'll list the board members first. The board members besides myself as the chair, is Tom Tanoff, Patrick Murphy, Gary Kuntz, Jim Roffus, Jack Frues, and we had Herman Vanderwell, who passed away, and now we have Dave Copenhaver, who has taken his place. And he's also the chaplain with the Legion, so that's tying in pretty nice with the park also. I think I pretty well, hopefully. I want to say one more thing about this, and then I'll sit down here, is those monuments up there, to some people are not that familiar with them. Started back with Carlson, and then, of course, he sold to Rexwinkel picked up where he left off. We had, I worked with Fish from the funeral home over Remsen. They've been part of that park up there too. I think it's notable that we have that working relationship, which we do. Joel Johnson, he's been working with us with the city cemetery. I don't want to wear somebody out, so we kind of break these things up, and all those people have stepped forward to help do some things for us. And you people need to know that that's part of making your community work too, is we get that. Do we all agree all the time? No. Tell the truth, shame the devil. But we, for the most part, we do make some things work together. I think it's pretty important that we do that. Any questions I'll field real quick, or?
Wayne, are you aware of any Plymouth County or Lamar's residents that are in the Space Force, or the U.S. Space Force?
No.
No?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because I asked the same question. Does anybody know of anybody yet that's been in that? It's a small group yet, considering the size the Air Force is. So.
Anyway, a former classmate of mine who was, he was a Marine, but currently works for Northrop Grumman, and he's heading up the DARC program, which is D-A-R-C. They just were awarded this federal grant to develop deep space radar-controlled drones for the U.S. Space Force. And this is a Lamar's Community High School graduate. Just got the presidential award for doing that development work. So, born and raised in Lamar's, Brent Swift is his name. His dad ran Baumgars here in Lamar's.
I knew his father.
So, yeah, very cool.
See, so a lot of things happen here in Lamar, so good things.
Hopefully none of that was top secret, Rob.
No, it was on Facebook. It was on Facebook. Which means it's still gonna be done.
No, but that's nice to know that we do have something like that.
Wayne, please relay our gratitude to your committee for the work you guys do.
I sure will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody on the committee is into it 100% and wants to see things carry on and move on. It's like anything else in the city. Somebody helps build at one time, and you keep building off of it, and that's what you have to keep doing. I think we're trying to do that. We're pretty proud of Mars. One other thing, the tours have slowed down, of course, of COVID, but they're starting to pick up now. We just had a bus tour in there here in the last 2 weeks, so it's starting to pick up a little. Thanks to the Browns too, that bring people to town. And we get to have some of their fallout, you might say, and it works out pretty good. Okay,
Thank you, Wayne.
thank you.
Any other citizens? Seeing none, I'll kick off the thumbs up award to this board on the Veterans Memorial Park. Wayne Shipper, Tom Tanoff, Patrick Murphy, Gary Coons, Jim Rolfus, Jack Fruce, and Dave Copenhaver. So thumbs up to you and all the work that you do for the Veterans Park. So, Mike, do you have any thumbs up?
Pass today.
Ryan? Pass. Clark? Pass. Steve?
Thumbs up for the weekend Halloween extravaganza, kids downtown and everything. So thanks to the chamber and all of their organization. I think it was a beautiful day and brought a lot of kids out. So thank you so much for that.
Clark?
Thanks, pass them.
All right, very good. Consent items. Listed under the consent items, we have approval of the October 18, 2022 regular meeting minutes, a list of bills for the period ending 10/28/22, and the Kilkers Highway 75 addition, which is a resolution.
Yeah, pull Kilkers if you would, please.
Okay.
Motion to approve consent items 1 and 2.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Kilkers addition, what's the purpose for this?
The purpose, what, coming to us, or the purpose of waiving?
The purpose of waiving?
It's an option that we've never done before. If we look at the plats within 2 miles, some of them are probably more important that we look at them. This one in this particular case is ag ground to stay ag ground. Most that we see are people sectioning off a piece of former farm ground to build a residence. Those are probably more important that we should look at. But this one, like I said, is farm ground to farm ground, so all it is taking a step out. And Iowa code allows us, both sides, either county or city, to waive the whole formal review process.
More specifically, I think it was bought at auction, and then there's multiple people buying it, so that's why they're dividing it. So there'll be different farmers owning different lots. Correct, Jason?
Yeah, I don't think we have to do that plat.
Well, the only part that bothers me is the intention. It will remain ag ground with no intention of changing. I just can't see why we would do this out in front and take away our ability if it does change, if the intention changes. Like you mentioned, I didn't know it had ever happened before, so to me, it seems kind of unprotective of the future. So if it's gonna remain ag ground, there's no need for any dispute on any discussion.
Well, if I look at this, Clark, I mean, we would have, if we could just imagine what discussion would have happened at P and Z, I mean, nothing. I mean, there's no, we want to implement it, we want to ask for anything different at the P and Z level for this. I mean, there's no requirements. The last one, so the Gangler one,
Right.
we just did.
Right.
That is about the only one that I can remember of going to P and Z meetings where we've actually, on a plat within the 2 miles, asked for anything.
What about,
And that was because of-
K30 or C30, whatever number that is, out there east of town? Didn't that, because that was within the 2 miles too.
Which one was that?
He built up on top of the hill. Help me out. Can I,
That's in city limits.
that's in city limits?
Yeah.
That one was?
Yeah.
I think it was.
No, I
guess I don't understand the need for this, that's all I'm asking.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, I knew it might bring questions because it's the first time we've ever done it, utilized the option. If we don't want to do it in the future, then we won't go this route. We look at, if we look at Greg and I and now Mark as plats come in from within the 2 mile jurisdiction, we look at them, whether or not it's beneficial to take that extra step.
Well, let me just put it this way, if you said there's multiple owners, so number 4, owner number 4 next year, 4 years from now, if he decides or his kids decide, hey, we're gonna put in a housing development, I have no clue.
Well, then they would have to.
They would have to take it
They would
to us
replat it
again.
Because it's a zoning.
So it would come back to us again.
Yeah.
If they're gonna further divide any of this stuff, it needs to be a plat.
So what are we waiving? I'm sorry, I'm the stupid guy in the room. Explain to me, what are we
So-
waiving?
Just
This ground
just
is-
the P and Z step.
Yeah, it's a P and Z step. And It's within the 2 miles. The ground is being divided up between 4 inches, 4 different owners. So by state law, they have to create a subdivision because of the multiple owners of the
Divide.
ground.
Okay.
The owners that are gonna be owning this ground are just gonna farm it, just like it has been for the last, how many hundreds of years.
Right.
They cannot further divide any portion of of each owner's ground. They cannot further divide it, without going through P and Z and our approval on a rural residential neighborhood.
Okay, then let me ask you one question.
So it's only a technicality by law.
So I'll change my question, that is, so if number 4 comes in and 2 years from now, he says, I'm gonna put a couple hog confinements in, he already owns this section,
He owns
does he need our permission?
No, that would be the county, because if he's using his portion of the ground he's not subdividing them by putting in buildings,
Okay.
so he would not have to.
Okay.
It's only
Yeah,
if
we
it
just
becomes
have,
subdivision.
we just have the authority to review plats. I mean, so
Okay.
we don't have the authority to review building permits that are taken out with the
Okay.
county. I mean, so that's a risk, Clark, I mean, if somebody wants to do that. I mean, now, somebody could take 4 next year and decide to build a house on it and not replat it.
Right.
We would have no, you know.
No, I get it, they can't divide it again, it's just use of the ground, if somebody's intention, he says, I'm gonna put up a bunch of turkey barns, we have absolutely no say in the matter, so. Yeah, okay, thank you, appreciate the answer.
Motion adopting resolution number 2246, waiving review of final plat of Hillcrest Highway number 75 edition, a minor subdivision is allowed per Iowa Code section 354.9.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Roll
Oh,
call.
roll call.
Donovan, aye.
Goodchild?
No,
No.
no,
Sturgeon?
Yes.